in this room know all about chakras. It's true. This actually aligns your chakras. So chakras are the cord of light. I know many of you are familiar with that. It's the cord of light that is your essence and energy through the center. As that aligns, your spiritual and divine gifts actually open. Because heaven is on perfect frequency and pattern. So as there's perfect frequency and pattern, you're aligned with the truth that you know that you are. And as that's aligned, your gifts expand. And it's really not the drums, it's you. Lori came. You want to be drummed? Come on in. Unlike your wildest dreams for yourself and all those you love. Because we will beat the beat and we will sing the songs and we will dance the dance. Come on. I'm going to cry. Get ready? So you're clear about the chakras without me even telling you. So that's why we go on your side of the body. So you go behind her. And when we beat, it's not the pounding of the drums, it's just the resonance. You can stop. We're energy workers, I know it. And as energy workers, as you drum, this is the advanced class. You can feel the blocks. You can feel when the energy is beating, where the energy is more dense. And simply by beating the drum, it can penetrate the stuckness and begin to let it flow again. And let it go, so you just balance.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Balance. area, it felt like it was like accumulating in one place, and then it just felt like it was spiraling right out the top of my head.
It is. It is.
Okay, good.
That's exactly what's happening. So that's why you're feeling that.
Good. Well, I'm pretty authentic, good or bad or ugly, but yeah, that's what it felt like. It's spectacular.
Yeah.
So much. What a gift.
Oh, it's beautiful. So in drum circles, all the chaos in different cultures, all the chaos of our past, of the pain, of the hate, all of these things that are in our auric fields that we carry and drag with us. You have a tribe of people that stand in a circle to love you and support you, and you clear the entire energy field of everybody there, and all of the history and all of that together in a unified conscious experience. How much time do we have? 10 to 12 minutes. 10 to 12
We're gonna
minutes.
take some questions, Kate.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's such a sacred experience.
It feels good. So we do have, if anybody does have questions or comments, because I know many of you. Yes.
Well, I just have a question about, I actually have two questions about the drum circle. So first, when you attend, does everyone get a drum, or is it like the main people get a drum and other people just like experience it?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. So as people come to Drum Circle, we have a handful of drums, and by a handful I mean a whole house full. But most people in the local drum circles have either built their own drums at one of Katie's workshops. Katie Jo teaches a workshop on how to build your own Native American hoop drum. And that process looks like we take the hide of a buffalo or a moose or a horse, and we soak it in the river and it gets soft. And then we tie that into a Native American drum. And so a lot of people have chosen to do that. Katie Jo also sells the drums that she ties, the Native American drums, via her website. And so people have bought drums that way. You can also buy a drum from not Katie Jo. She obviously has painted a lot of drums, but what happens is, what I've seen is people will come to a drum circle 1 or 2 times, and the people with drums always share their drums with the people who don't have drums, and so it kind of just becomes an intermingle. But once you catch the bug, you end up with a drum, or 2, or 10, or however many you end up with. So does that answer your question? Or-
Yeah. Well, I was also wondering, do you rehearse and have compositions of what you do, or it's just like in the moment?
I don't rehearse. Because I started as an artist, being commissioned to paint drums, I had no connection to drums. I had no. Now the truth is that my heritage is, I do have Native American heritage, which I had no knowledge of until I was 33. I was never taught anything Native American in any way. And I don't claim and own the Native American heritage, not out of disrespect, but because drumming belongs to every single culture. In every single nation, in every single continent, we have drums. When I go and speak to small school children, I explain, at the beginning of the earth, there was one tribe and one people. We stood in one circle, and we drummed. But we covered the globe. We split and we traveled the oceans and the mountains. And we thought we became many tribes. We forgot we were many. We forgot we were one. But the drumming has existed through us all. So we gather now, and with the drums, remember, we are still just one circle, one tribe. So the most important drum anybody brings is their heart. And these are like Dumbo's feathers. These are actually tools in our hands that really and truly only represent the drum that matters, which is the heart. A drum circle is a unifying of heartbeats. And the drum reminds us that we can stand with unified hearts. So most of the time, I would say our drum circles, we have at least 1/3 of the people that attend with no drums at all. Wouldn't you say that, Susan, about? And the way that it works is, you'll see in a lot of these images, you'll see 30 people standing, because as the drum circles grew, if we have 500 people in a drum circle, we say, okay, who will stand for the children? Who will stand for the children when you stand in the middle? And a rush of crowd of people will come. So they don't need the drums. Who will stand for suicide? Who will stand for those who don't feel like they're enough? Who will stand for the warriors? Warriors of light. And people will rush in, and then they'll have hundreds of drummers surround those, standing together to stand for the suicide victims, for the children, for domestic violence, for the mothers who have lost their children, who will beat their drum for them and flood them with love. And often, you'll see somebody standing in the middle without a drum, and you'll see somebody rush in to drum them with no drum at all, but their hand is here. And they stand behind them, and with everything they have, they beat their heart and let them know they're not alone. And they feel it. Did that answer your question? Oh, you said about rehearsing. How could you rehearse that? Right? Any other questions or comments from many of you? Because many of you have experiences at drum circles.
I want to share my experience in my first drum circle. I'm going to come up here. My first drum circle was a year and a half ago, October, the end of October. In September, the month before, about 6 weeks before, I broke my elbow severely in a bicycle crash. A week later, unrelated, I lost function in my entire arm. I couldn't move it. I could hardly open and close my hand. My hand was really cold to touch and very swollen. I wasn't even able to use it to help me hold a pot. I couldn't use it to hold a book, or it was not functional at all. So I go to my very first drum circle, and I'm in the outer circle. I'm not even standing in the center. I'm witnessing. I'm out in the outer circle. There's a circle of people in the middle. Say people are standing in the center for children. I'm just out in the outer circle. So before my very eyes, my arm starts straightening. And it straightened a lot. And I was quite stunned. To